I think Terraria players often speedrun the game to Moonlord and never take their time on their worlds. I want to change that. So, over the course of a year, I will be playing on this one world, with each stage of progression being blocked until the start of a new month. I'm doing this so I can seriously take my time in each stage of Terraria's progression and see what it has to offer. So, for the month of January, I've only been allowed to defeat King Slime and the Eye of Cthulhu. Otherwise, I could make no other form of progression. This is what happened. For the month of January, everything started about how you would expect when starting a new world. I chopped down some trees, explored some caves, collected treasure, and worked on getting to full health. This alone took most of my time through the month, but there were a few things that I found particularly interesting as I made my way through the world. With the latest introduction of quick build swapping, Terraria players are now able to create several different class builds to suit their various needs. From what I've observed, most players still only choose one of the four main classes, while reserving the other two slots for a mining and a fishing build. But with all the extra time I had, I found myself attempting to get a full loadout for 3 of the 4 main classes instead. So, instead of finding all the gear for the one class I was going to play, I instead searched for the gear necessary for every class. This had one side effect I had not expected. Each of the Terraria biomes have their own unique gear and challenges. However, you can entirely avoid exploring some of the biomes through all of pre-hard mode, depending on the build you're going for. I most often find that I don't hardly explore either the underground tundra or desert, or sometimes even both when I'm doing a normal run. However, since I was laying the groundwork for getting the equipment for every class, I ended up exploring each of the biomes far more than I usually would. Especially since I needed duplicates of several accessories so I could merge them with the Tinker's Workshop for every class. Getting the Terraspark boots, in particular for these 3 classes, will prove to be a challenge. Another challenge I first saw, but didn't fully appreciate, was the fact that I could not get a Nightmare Pickaxe, or rather, its Crimson alternative, the Deathbringer. This limited my options severely in the underworld, so I hardly even went down there. Perhaps even more substantially, the Goblin army was locked behind the February progression, meaning I could not simply destroy a few of the hearts and get the loot. This actually made getting a gun and ammunition more difficult than usual. A lot of the time, I would get a musket early game and use it to progress through a large portion of pre-hard mode, but because I couldn't get the Crimson Undertaker, the musket alternative, I had to rely on other methods for early progression in weaponry. I also had to find a boomstick if I wanted the arms dealer to spawn at all. There was also one accessory in particular that I had an unusually hard time finding. This was the Feral Claws. Usually, I don't go into a run with a certain class in mind, but instead go for whatever one I find is most convenient pre-hard mode. In other words, the RNG will often determine my starter class. However, because I had the time, I devoted several hours searching for these Feral Claws. In a normal run, I would have simply given up in favor of focusing on another class so that I could continue progressing through the game. But this time, I was more than willing to devote hours to getting exactly what I wanted. Feral Claws! Yes! Terraria is an amazing game, and every time I play it, I'm filled with wonder. It's amazing to me how many times I can play it and still find something new and fun about it. And that's what this journey is all about. It's about slowing down and seeing what someone can really do when they spend serious time on every stage of the game. What will the world look like when I'm finally done? What will be built and accomplished? I don't know. But after 1 month on this world, I can only say that I can't wait for February.